Welcome to the LANCave, where we're living as nerds. I'm Patrick, joined by Owen.
The Rock says he's gonna make a new movie.
Yes, he is. Which,
Rock
I will say,
says.
I was,
Sorry, I
what,
loved The Rock. The Rock and Stone Cold are my jam, dude.
Oh no, I love it. You know what? In fact, it's like Christmas to me. By the way, we talk about gaming, we talk about nerd stuff, all that kind of stuff on here. And I was gonna wait. But I can't like hold back surprises. And I was gonna talk about our Pokemon stuff and everything. But The Rock making a video game movie, very happy. Very, very happy about this because, like you said, you were like, gotta love The Rock, gotta love some Stone Cold Steve Austin era, old school Rock with Mick Foley, and but the first thing that I thought was like, I've read this headline before, right? Like I've read this headline before.
Yeah.
So I just had to throw that in there as a joke.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, what's crazy is like lately this guy can just do like whatever he wants, right?
Yeah.
Like and I love the guy, by the way. I think he's probably one of the he definitely has a layer the layer of fakeness to him at times where he's got a brand that he manages extremely well these days. But I also think that for all that, he is like one of the more like real celebrities out there. He communicates a lot through like his social media and stuff like on a regular basis. And again, I know part of that is brand, but like it feels like it's actually him talking, The dude can do whatever he wants. He's like, I'm gonna make a Disney movie on Disney and it's gonna be like a huge movie. You know what else I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make a movie with Ryan Reynolds, and that's gonna be really big on Netflix. And you know what else I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna make a TV show about my life, because why not? And so somewhere in there, he's like, I want to make a video game movie. And this isn't his first like ties to video games. He's had a tie with Xbox for at least a little while.
I almost brought up the Bill Gates thing.
I've never seen him play a video game before. I know that he might at some point in his life. I honestly think he's just too busy these days. But
I mean, his day starts at like 3:30 or 4 in the morning. Like,
he's insane, dude.
Yeah,
I don't think he sleeps, bro. He's not human. He reminds me kind of similar, just of any big CEO. Because he pretty much is a CEO. He owns like a tequila company. He owns a energy drink company. He owns a production company. So I know that Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, I think he says he sleeps around like 4 to 5 hours a night.
Yeah,
like tops. Just because that's where your brain's at. And I imagine with a dude who like is famous for working out like late into the night and then like posts early the next day, like I can't imagine he gets more than like 4 or 5 hours of sleep.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I know that he's posted like his schedule, like kind of a typical day for him, and it's filled with extreme productivity, but also like the guy has his fun. But yeah, no, I agree. I don't know when he sleeps. Maybe he takes naps. I know that it helps when I'm going to say this nicely. He has the fuel to get him to do that in regards to food and substances that let him continue to to have that physique, if you get what I'm saying. It doesn't make it like an easy button, but you don't get that size and stay that size without some usage, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know he's denied it before. I don't know where he's at these days, though.
I think that I'm not saying.
I imagine that if he does, that it's on like a very. He seems like a person who would regiment it very well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So, and that's what I was saying. Like, I'm not knocking him on that. It's like that helps him be that, like, to get at that level. But you can't do that and then just look like The Rock. Trust me. Like, that's not how it works. And if you go to the gym, you see guys that do stuff. They don't look like The Rock. It takes dedication. So you put on here, by the way, your feeling on what you think.
I want to know what you thought it was. whenever you initially saw this, because he said, and we don't normally cuss on the show, so I'm going to keep it brief. He said, badass game.
Yeah.
So, what are you thinking?
I was thinking kind of the same thing as you. If you were thinking of Grand Theft Auto,
Okay.
I was thinking that just because I don't know how much of a gamer he is, as opposed to some celebrities that I'm like, oh, they actually game. Like Austin Aries, like actually games. He's not just making video game references for clout. Snoop games. Big. Yeah, well, I don't know if he did that until like I know he's games recently. I don't know if he gamed like until past 4 or 5 years or so.
I don't know when he started or anything, but he plays a lot of Madden. Among other things.
Yeah. He played Bloodborne. He didn't like it, but like
there's a dude on the Rams. No, not on the Rams. On the Chargers, big defensive lineman Bosa. They had him mic'd up this season, and he was talking to his teammate about how he just beat Sekiro. Like just sitting there during the middle of a game, bro. He's like, dude, I just beat Sekiro.
I mean, I'd be excited about it too. I still haven't beaten that game. I don't think I'm ever going to get back to it, but it's cool seeing like people who are actually gamers, and like our generation, it's not as bad as
He says that he has a connection to games, and what I imagine it is that maybe he played games in college, maybe because like he talks about how he was a lot lazier in terms of just like life and stuff. If you watch his show, which I watched the first season. It's not terrible. My other thought, since he does have that connection to Xbox, and I didn't write this one down, so you don't have a video queued for it, so I apologize. But my other thought was Gears of War.
I would,
since he has an Xbox tie. Imagine if he was like Dom in Gears.
Give me him and Dave Bautista in some Gears of War, because Bautista's been saying he wants to play, he wants to be in that movie if they ever make it. That'd be great. I'd probably cast.
And if he doesn't play Dom, he could play. He could play. What's the dude's name? The football star.
Coltrane.
Coltrane.
Yeah.
I don't think he quite has like. I don't think he quite has like that soul level like to play that part. But Dom was my initial thought whenever I was like, since he has the Xbox ties, he's got ins with Phil probably, and he's like, hey, why don't you let $7 Productions make a Gears of War movie?
That would be. I just take my money. I would totally see that.
That's a movie that I would actually be like interested to see.
I'd throw Joe Manganiello in there too, because like I feel like he would fit in that world, and he's a nerd.
Sure.
I didn't have it queued up here, by the way. We were talking about whether or not someone's a gamer, and I don't know if you heard or saw the recent thing. Brandon Sanderson, if you're familiar, the fantasy writer. So Brandon Sanderson is very. What, you didn't?
I can't get it. There's just so long, bro.
I get it. Like he is a renowned, especially for his age, like very like prolific writer. Finished the Wheel of Time series. So
I like how that came about. How he was like such a nerd for that series that he finishes the series posthumously.
Yeah, and his what's his name? Robert Jordan's widow like picked him.
Yeah. Like
out of anybody. She was like, this guy can do it, and he did. So he was on Twitter and slammed George R.R. Martin, like saying like, wait a minute. So From Software picks George R.R. Martin, who doesn't play video games and spends all his time talking about football on Twitter. They pick him to do a video game movie, and he's like, meanwhile, I've played every From Software game. So this guy's not only a prolific writer, and by prolific, I mean he's putting out books almost Stephen King levels of like 1 or 2 books a year, which is pretty intense. And slamming George R.R. Martin, who like puts out a book every 10, like 4, 5, 7, whenever they come out.
Not enough. I just thought it was funny. Talk about football on Twitter, by the way.
No. But I just think it's funny
that this podcast host talks about football on Twitter.
I agreed. I just think it's funny because he was basically like, wait a minute, I am like, I have the creds. I'm not only a writer, but I love this company. I love the series, the franchise. Like it would, if you're picking a fantasy writer to fill out that world, like this would work perfectly. Now I know that Miyazaki like picked George R. R. Martin. I'm assuming because he's a
Yeah,
Game of Thrones fan.
that's the
But I
title,
do
man.
think it's funny. I do think it's funny that he kind of slammed it. He's like, "Hey, dude, I'm right
Is it
here."
Sanderson the dude who like will like who has like updates on his website, like in terms of like the progress of books? Like I've always thought that
Um,
that was pretty impressive about him. Like if I'm thinking Stormlight, right?
yeah. Stormlight
Stormlight Archives, like
Archives.
he,
Yeah. I think
yeah,
that one
like
he
if you're,
specifically was like, "I'm gonna write it and I'm gonna show you like while I'm writing it." Yeah,
yeah, dude, you can go, yeah. So that was always really impressive to me about him. You can literally go to his website, brandonsanderson.com, and there's progress bars on his
yeah,
current stories on like where they're at. I think that that's
yeah,
baller, just to
uh,
really like
yeah.
in terms of keeping like your fans up to date.
Yeah, I like also
But
that. I like him as a writer in regards to like I know his stuff is like really long and dry, but I like the fact that like when it comes to like coach, like he puts
yeah,
his lectures out online for free because he's like
yeah,
you and says things like like no one's you can take any whatever your special idea is like doesn't matter unless you actually write it and write it well because anybody can write
yeah,
anything. And I didn't know we were going to talk about it, but he literally has an example. There was a guy on forums who was talking about like anyone can make a successful book out of any idea, and people were saying no, that's not true. So he took a random idea that someone put in a forum, which was I think it was mixed Pokemon with like the Roman Empire or something like that, and then he wrote a book of that, and it was a really good. It sold a lot of copies. Like he was basically like, look, if you're a good writer, you can take any ideas and just make it work. So I thought that was funny, but that's not what you came here to talk about. You've been
yeah.
playing some Pokemon.
Yeah, I got into the Pokemon Arceus hype, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I pre-ordered it, which the reviews came out today. Started mighty on OpenCritic. I think last time I looked, it was sitting around like an 84, which most Pokemon games, I think there's only one that's been in the 70s. But in the meantime, I was like, let's just dust off some Pokemon. But I couldn't just dust off some Pokemon because I've played them. I've gone back. So there's these things that are well known called ROM hacks, where people will take basically like the game, a basic game of lots of games. There's lots of ROM hacks for lots of games out there, and they'll do different stuff to it. Sometimes they'll do quality of life updates, or sometimes they'll write like a completely whole new story. So this is a ROM hack of Fire Red called Rocket Edition, where you play as a member of Team Rocket. You're a Team Rocket grunt, and your story goes alongside Red's story.
That's cool.
Goes on. So like you start at the Rocket hideout in Celadon City. For those who have played Red, Blue, and Yellow, and you start at the Rocket hideout under the coin, the slot machine place, and then you hear about this kid. You cross paths with Red. He kicks your butt in Mount Moon after you're looking for fossils, and then he takes the fossil famously either the Kabuto or the Armanite fossil, and I crossed paths with Blue. I actually managed to beat Blue, which I was surprised about, but it's really well done. I'm actually really surprised. I've played some bad ROM hacks. I played a really bad ROM hack of Link to the Past last year, where it was just absolutely awful. This though is actually really high quality. I don't know if I'm gonna finish it or not. It still has that old school grind Pokemon mechanic, and that's a little tough for me, but it's set up in missions, which is interesting. Like with Pokemon, you just kind of go from gym to gym to gym, but this one like is basically like set up into chapters, and so you don't like the fight with Red. I wasn't expected to win. He was like 15 levels higher than me, so he beats you, and then that doesn't end. That's not a game over. It actually was part of the story. You're expected to lose to him, which was pretty interesting. And then so I pre-ordered that. And then I've kept on about my shopping. Keep buying some physical games. I had my first GameStop burn though. So I finally experienced the famous Patrick GameStop burn. I bought Final Fantasy X and got this
what is that
piece of crap. I was quite upset because I got a good deal on it. It was under $20, and I know that there's plenty of cases out there, so I'm pretty upset about that. But Final Fantasy 12 came in, looks just fine, and then went through the back compat list because I finished KOTOR, right? Beat KOTOR, and I'm like, I wonder what's on back compat with Xbox. So I picked me up some Force Unleashed 1 and 2, $3 a piece, Amazon used, baby. So been having fun just doing different physical shopping with the Final Fantasy one. I got it through my brain that I want to collect the carts, not the discs, but the carts. So I still need the 7-8 cart, which is a split cart, and then I need Final Fantasy 9, which I actually just ordered today off PlayAsia. So I'm trying to get like every available physical Final Fantasy that's out there. I'm hoping that the Pixel remasters come to console at some point in the future, and that way I can get like a complete set, which would be sweet.
Now, I literally I pulled up Final Fantasy 12 because I was legitimately thinking like, wait, which one is that? And that doesn't happen for me in regards to Final Fantasy. I don't know if I've played 12.
It's very, I think it's divisive. The thing about this one that we got, it's called the Zodiac Age. As has happened before with Final Fantasies in Japan versus the United States, they got a different version of 12 than we did in terms of how the leveling system and stuff works. And so the Zodiac Age that they brought over now is the version that Japan had when the game originally launched. I have not played it yet. I played 12 on PS2 when it came out. I did not finish it. I'm hoping at some point to get into this, but for me right now, it's kind of just collecting Final Fantasies. We'll see which ones I like.
No, I get it.
Kind of pick through. 9 is the one where I'm like, there's just so many people talking about the story. I should just turn on the cheats.
I need to do
like
that
the
too.
level cheat and just go through the story. But if you're ever having fun and you're thinking about physical stuff, the back compat list that you can just literally search through is dope. And Amazon, if you click like the buy used and whatever, you can find some pretty good deals. And what's funny is everything that I've got off Amazon used so far has come from a Goodwill, either in Washington or Colorado.
Interesting.
So got people doing Goodwill stuff through Amazon. It's pretty funny. I bought Final Fantasy 13 and 13-2 through Goodwill on Amazon also.
I will say, like, I just did a donation. That's actually why if you see my room doesn't look normal, we getting some flooring redone here, and that was also a good time to like do some decluttering. And I had a box of DVDs and Blu-rays that I wanted to get rid of, and they've just been sitting in my office. So I donated them to Salvation Army because I was like you were saying, you could throw it on Amazon or eBay or Facebook Marketplace. How much time am I going to spend? Like 40 or 50 discs, listing them all individually, and like, it's not worth it. I'm going to donate it.
Sell it as a lot.
Yeah, I could sell it as a lot. I probably could have done that, but I'm like, I'm just going to donate it. And someone very well may have done that, but because my house is kind of in disarray right now, I've been playing Switch because my other console's not easily accessible. So I started playing Slay the Spire, which I picked up last year. Very good. You recommended it. A couple other people recommended it. I really, really enjoyed it. I picked it up forever ago, and it's been on it was on my old Switch. Got downloaded on my new Switch. Definitely for me. If you like card games, if you like. Yep, you were right. You're right. That's why I had it like ready. And when I got the Swole Lab, that was one of the games that like I downloaded a handful of games, and that was one of them because I was like, at one point I'm gonna start playing it. But it's one of those things where I'm like, it's a new game, and if I start playing it, how long? Like if I get hooked, right?
Yeah.
I need to have enough time to play it. So the wife was working. I booted it up and really, really like it. I'm not going in.
Video, they are horribly addictive.
It is. It is a little addictive. I like the roguelike aspect of it. I like the card game aspect of it. I have not beaten I guess it's the first boss or whatever. Like I haven't beaten that first boss yet, but
Yeah,
really liking
they're
it.
basically like runs. Like, so
Yeah,
you do a run and then you can do another run. Like, I rolled credits on like my very first thing, and then I didn't go back to it because I was like, I can't do better than that. I won my very first run, even though there is like more
first
bosses that you
try.
can unlock. Yeah.
Dang.
And so I was like, and got the credits on that first go, and I was like, I can't do better than this. I'm not gonna unlock the rest of this stuff.
I mean, okay, some of it, I will say, some of it is luck. Like sometimes you get really good loot, and sometimes I made a couple plays that I realized weren't quite as effective as others. But I had one play that I got a card as loot, and then right afterwards got a thing where it's like you can duplicate a card in your deck. I duplicated that card and like ran with that thing. Like if I could start with it, I would. It was actually with the silent. Um,
Yeah.
So I may look into like any tips on like is there a way to unlock the card, like a specific card to start with instead of just getting it randomly. But I haven't dug into it too much yet. But yeah, it's fun.
If you want to have some fun, and I want to say it was like around an hour or so.
Mm-hmm.
At the recent GDQ, there was a speed run of it. If you want to see the broken version of the game.
Of this one of Slay the Spire.
Yeah, they did a speed run of Slay the Spire,
Nice.
and just like how fast the dude makes decisions is pretty wild.
I'll have to check that out. Like I love seeing people play high level like that, and when you understand the mechanics enough to do that, like it's like watching like someone play chess or without. It doesn't seem like they're paying attention, but it's because they're making decisions that quick. Right. But that kind of segues into the first story that was going to be on the news. We talked about The Rock already, but some outlets were reporting that the Switch has outsold the PlayStation, and they're citing the PlayStation 5. So, because I was like, "There's no way that the Switch outsold the PlayStation 4," and I've seen multiple outlets talk about this. I call shenanigans. I don't consider the Switch of the same generation as a PlayStation 5. It came out, I would say the Wii U is the correct match for the PS3, right? This came out during the PS4. This is not a current gen / next gen console. So I call shenanigans when they were saying, like, I don't know if you have a different opinion on it, but I thought that was kind of, the Switch had 4 years a head start on the PS5.
Well, the question is like, are they saying that it's outselling or that it's projected to continue to outsell? Because that would be the difference in text. I can't see somebody just dropping like the 90 million Switch units sold and be like, yep, it's out, it already beat the PlayStation. The question is it a projection?
Yeah.
And so if it's projected to outsell PS5 and Xbox Series, honestly, I could believe that. PlayStation,
but it had a head start. I mean, sorry.
Yeah, but again, we're talking projections, and so if you're saying if it's talking about a projection and saying starting the Switch at 0, basically, so not counting the not counting previous sales, saying that, say like in 2022, let's see, has made some bold predictions saying for 2022 Xbox Series will sell 9 million, PlayStation 5 18 million, and Nintendo Switch 21 million. And so it sounds like what they're saying is that if we're starting Switch at a new 0, which they're not, but like in this projection model they are, I think. So starting Switch at a new 0 from November of 2020.
Yeah.
That it's going to outsell, I could believe that. That makes sense to me because the Switch is cheaper to build and the chips are more readily available than the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series, and we have no idea when those are going to catch up.
Also, we have Switch
I can
Lite.
see that being a thing.
We have Switch Lite,
Yeah.
OG Switch, SWOLED, and if you want to count,
maybe a future Pro machine.
Yeah, so I get that. I think the price point on it and the availability. I'm not saying I'm not saying all the time, but I see Nintendo Switches at like Target and other stores regularly. Now it may be a Animal Crossing edition or something like that people aren't flocking towards, but you could get it, and you can't do that with PS5. You can't do that with the Series X. Can do it with the Series S though. I've been tempted on the Series S.
I see lights on the shelf regularly. I've seen SWOLEDs a couple times since I managed to land mine. Not often, not every time. I don't know about you, dude. Like, are you like this where like if you go into a big box store like Target and Walmart, like no matter what you're there for, you got to drive by the game section?
Yeah.
Do you do the same thing?
Whitney hates it. Whitney hates it. I'm like, I'm just gonna go look. I just want to go look.
My wife, like always is like, oh.
She's like, we're just getting bananas and what, like, it's like she went in. I think last time it was like a random item. It was like, we need bananas and like, I don't know, some type of organizer for the bathroom. And I'm like, okay,
it's right there.
We're just gonna take a big circle. That's what I thought. We're just taking. Where are you going? Big circle. Right around electronics.
I gotta see what the prices of TVs are right now, and just think about my future. I can't replace my TV. I need one of my TVs to break. I'm not willing it to break, but I need one to break to upgrade to an OLED at some point. But no, I gotta stop by, right? So every single time I'm like, I just want to see. I'm like, is there any series on the shelf? Is there any Nintendos? Just kind of judging my own thing. Where I live in a pretty big suburb. A lot of people talk about how they see Series S on the shelf all the time. I still have yet to see one here. I know that it happens, and it's pretty common to be able to get one, especially online. But around here, I have not seen even the Series S on the shelf.
I saw them, and that's where I was kind of tempted. I was like, I could just get this and mount it, because the idea is that would be the bedroom console. And arguably, this is something where you're talking about like wanted to replace a TV. I bought a really cheap TV for our bedroom to just have something to watch TV in there, because for the majority of our marriage we've not had a TV in the bedroom, and I got it on Black Friday as a special. And I think it's like the CPU in it or something is just CPU or memory or whatever it is, because these are computers now. It is so terrible that, like, going through the menu system, you literally hit right and you just wait, and you literally just wait and then it moves.
Is it a Roku or is it a Google or what?
It's a Samsung, but it's like this really, really, like, I don't know.
Does Samsung have their own proprietary?
Samsung TVs, yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I love about my TCL, even though it's a mid-grade TV. It's just a Roku. It's a built-in Roku TV.
I may go TCL or something like that, because I had a Samsung and I didn't have it. I liked my Samsung TV. I now have a Sony TV, which I absolutely love. But I didn't think it would be a big deal, but it's a joke. It's a joke. I literally will hit the menu button and like go get a drink of water, and then then it's
honestly,
like,
dude,
boop, then it works.
You have a console in there, bro?
So I don't have a console in there. So now, because I had
if you
my
put a console in there, that's your new media machine.
Exactly.
Because surprisingly, both
Big
both
brain.
the PlayStation, I love the PlayStation 1. Like, in terms of media,
Yeah.
like the only thing that's annoying is kind of like the app tab on the PS4, but on the 5 it's actually pretty good. But the media remote is great, and
Love it. Yeah.
honestly, HBO app, some of the bigger apps that honestly suck on Apple TV for some dumb reason function so well on PlayStation. I don't know why that is. So if you end up getting a series, like, there's your new media machine.
That's what I'm thinking. I will say that, strangely enough, the Xbox version of HBO, and I literally looked online, it was doing this for at least 8 months, because I would go check it. If you were watching certain content, like this happened when the new the Snyder Cut came out. So Snyder Cut comes out, I press play, and the very bottom line is green. like the very bottom like couple pixels is just green. I switched to something else. It was green. There's certain content that was, certain was. Apparently, it was only Xbox that was doing it. I switched over to the PlayStation. It was fine. Used the native app. It was fine. Yeah.
What's that thing that you store everything in? All your media?
Plex.
The program?
Plex. Yeah.
Plex on Xbox?
Yeah. So it will play. I mean, you're running it off of a separate server, but yeah, Plex is on Xbox. Plex is on. So I'm considering that you literally were ahead of me. I was considering it in the S to put in there just to have to stream media because it would stream so much better. It may not look like better or any different, but the menu systems would be so much quicker. We were trying to put on some kind of trash TV while we're hanging out in the bedroom, went onto Hulu, and it's just a joke waiting. Either I'm waiting for it to respond, or all of a sudden it inputs like 10 commands all at the same time and it starts playing something that I didn't want to play. Like sports came on, which obviously does not happen very often in my house, and Whitney was like,
yeah,
you're watching basketball? No, I'm not. Not watching basketball. Yeah, that's how rare it is. She's like, what's I'm like, no, it's the remote. Yeah, so I'm considering upgrading just for that reason. We did get some really good news, like other than this, like, weird thing. We got some good news out of about Respawn. I don't know why it's playing that, but Respawn, sorry, I was thrown off by it, playing the wrong thing. So they've announced that Respawn is making at least 3 Star Wars games. The next Jedi game, so Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Fallen Order 2, whatever you want to call it. Yep. A strategy game and an FPS game. And I like that they said an FPS game and they didn't say like a specific, like a Battlefront game. So I'm like, they're going to get to do something different, which I think is pretty cool. Obviously pretty happy about this. What do you think?
If we're gonna keep the license, or at least some of the license with EA, then Respawn's the one that I want doing it. Jedi Fallen Order is definitely like the best Star Wars game in recent memory. IMO Battlefront 2, I'll continue to stand for it now that they fixed a lot of the currency and stuff. It's a great game, a great multiplayer game, but in terms of single player experiences, Jedi Fallen is like the way to go. But honestly, what excited me was the new FPS, and I'm like, is that the Mandalorian game that has been rumored to happen since that show came out? Like, are they gonna attempt their own version of 1313?
An FPS Mandalorian?
That's what I'm really curious about, is where we're going on the FPS front, because I think a sequel to Jedi Fallen Order was like a foregone conclusion. That game was too successful for anybody to abandon that IP. So what FPS are we getting, though? Whose story are we getting? That excites me. And honestly, it really excites me because of Titanfall. And if you have not played the campaign of Titanfall 2, it's excellent.
Yeah,
one of the best FPS campaigns
I need to
out there. It's tight. I think it's like 5-6 hours, dude. It's so good. It's a great thing. And so that is encouraging that, whenever they originally were doing Jedi Fallen Order, we're like, the people who made Titanfall, Apex, they're going to make that. And it turned out great. Good for them. I'm glad that they did it. They pulled a gorilla and went out of their wheelhouse and made something great. But the fact that they're making a first-person shooter, I think that they could do a Mandalorian game with their Titanfall type movement and stuff. I think that that's possible, and I kind of hope that that's what it is, or at least some kind of bounty hunter or Outer Rim. As much as I love my Jedi, and I'll always be for the Jedi, like, as opposed to the Boba Fett show, which I haven't watched today's episode, but I'm not thrilled with that show so far. I would love to play as a bounty hunter.
I will say I've got a love-hate for that relationship with that show right now. We're not going to obviously spoil anything of the series at all, because you may have not started it yet. There are things that I've liked, but a lot of the show I've just been I've not been digging for reasons I won't go into because I don't want to spoil it. But I guess I could see a Mandalorian as a first person shooter. I mean, I wouldn't mind after playing like the Battlefront 2 campaign, the campaign and the story about like playing like a stormtrooper or playing, even though you're not the like a hero or commander or what have you, just being part of some of those battles, I think it could tell a really cool story. Because I thought that was really cool with what they did with Battlefront 2. I would love a smuggler story, and I know we still don't have a lot of information on the what's the other game that's coming out that's from the ones who did I'm slipping here. It's the one that was controversial that got announced.
Quantum Dream?
Quantum Dream, yeah, that's right. Quantum
Dream.
Dream.
That I'm super excited about that I'm not allowed to be excited about because it's being done by Quantum Dream. Yeah, that's High Republic though, and so they are doing an action story or an action choice based game.
Action choice based,
action oriented.
Which I'm excited.
Detroit.
Yeah. But what I mean there is like it's going to be action choice based, but like are we going to play a Jedi? Are we going to play someone who's just around the Jedi? Because during the High Republic there are more Jedi and Sith than during the other times. Which I haven't read any of the books. I don't know if you've gotten any of that content yet. Gotten into it, High Republic stuff.
I have a book from the library to read, and I bought one on Kindle, but I've been reading actually Will Smith's biography. It's a like totally different thing, but like I picked Will Smith's biography up from the library, and that's what I started with. That dude has had a crazy life. At least up to I'm only up to near the end of Fresh Prince. So like got through Bad Boys and stuff, but like interesting on how he like got to LA and everything, and like how that all went down. Pretty interesting stuff. But so I've been stuck on that, and I was playing KOTOR, which got me in the mood, which is why I bought a High Republic book and got. So they're doing it in like there's adult ones, then there's young adult ones, which I'm a big fan of young adult fiction. It's kind of like the shorter video game, like
this is just fun.
You still get mature-ish level themes, but you get it in a much quicker to digest reading format. Less words on the page type thing. So I bought the adult one, and I picked up the YA one from the library, and so I will get to them at some point because I'm back on my Star Wars kick, and this news just kind of helped it along further. I like where we're going. We're getting the KOTOR remake, which after beating KOTOR, I'm really interested to see how that's going to go. There's a number of I think even if they were to just remaster KOTOR, I think that there's a number of quality of life things that they could do in terms of like just some fast travel options. There's a lot of running in that game, so we're in a decent place minus Boba Fett right now. Although I heard today's episode of Boba Fett was good, but it was ironically good. It's already been a little spoiled for me.
Okay.
So
I haven't seen it, but I heard people loved it and some people didn't. So
I complained about it on my Facebook because people just couldn't like, dude, you're posting stuff about this episode like at 10 a.m. And I was like, who? Get a job. That was my initial reaction. It's a mean reaction to have. Yeah. But it was the thing that I was just like, you're talking about the show at 10 a.m. Like, I don't even care if you stayed up till midnight the night before and watched it. I was like, what are you doing?
I work with a guy who he's in LA, right? So he watches it at midnight, but it's not midnight in LA. It doesn't release at midnight. It releases at the same time for all of the US. So he watches it at like 3 a.m. That's crazy. Like it's crazy. Is it 3 a.m.? I'm gonna get it wrong. Whatever time he literally goes to sleep, sets an alarm, wakes up, watches it, goes back to bed. Like, it's dedication, but he doesn't spoil it. So I'm not gonna.
Is it kids?
He does not have kids. No.
Okay.
That's probably why. But
But
I don't have
that
kids and I
I
don't do
so
that. So
I have an idea of a very brief idea of something that I'm expecting to happen in
okay.
tonight's episode, and I'm going to get to it after this podcast. But so far, dude, the show has been such a yawn fest. Like
Yeah.
I don't know what you're thinking of it so far, but there's just the way that they're telling. This isn't the story that I wanted from this character.
No.
Is basically what it. Not. I'm not even talking about the present stuff. I'm talking about the past stuff that they're kind of doing. I was like, who cares about this at all? Like, this is this the time that you want to hear about? No.
I want to see, because when you see him in Empire, I mean, they barely. I will say this about Empire and Jedi, they don't really talk him up, other than like the fact that he gets solo. Yeah, he has barely any screen time. He does mouth off to Vader, but you don't get to see him.
Good to be dead.
Yeah, exactly. No disintegration rays. But you see him mouth off, but you don't see him do anything like amazing. You don't see him do take down Chewbacca or anything that would make him set that bar that high. But we have set the bar that high based on the extended universe and such. So then Book of Boba Fett comes out, and we're still not seeing any of that era. I want to see what led up to that. What happened between Boba Fett in Attack of the Clones, right? Between that, and I know he's in Rebels and Clone Wars, I think.
He's in Clone Wars.
So after that, and then on to Empire. Like, show me that. Show me him becoming Boba Fett, as opposed to dealing with the setback of everything that happened. I want to see that, which it's an interesting. Yeah, because it's a different era.
I don't know if you read. Did you read like the old Legends books?
I read the old Legends book, the extended universe, like Tales from Jabba's Palace.
The Tales of the Bounty Hunters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like the one, like the. I can't remember who wrote that particular short story. I know that Kevin J. Anderson wrote one of the short stories, but I don't know if he wrote that one. But though, like in that one, didn't they like go into like he was chasing Han like before, and they kind of like he had like a kind of a history with Han, at least in this like extended universe type stuff. That's the Boba Fett I want to hear about.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not talking about what we are hearing about, by the way, but I could at least confirm they're not going into Legends territory with that. But it's just not the story. Now, again, I said it after the very first episode. I'm watching this from Ming-Na Wen, and she has been great. And seeing the very famous action star. I don't know. Would you call him an action star?
If you're talking about who I think you're talking about, yeah, because he's got like more of a soft view of this guy. If that's what you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, it's just hard to say like what he is in terms of like his fandom, but everybody I know that knows that actor just likes that actor because he's a cool dude. Him like showing up in the show was hilarious to me. I was like, is that? And my wife doesn't know anybody. She's like, okay. I don't know. And I'm like, I think that's... I'm like, I'm pretty sure. And then Ming-Na Wen, but I can't believe she's 58, bro. I cannot believe
58, right?
Ageless.
Well,
anyways,
and if you...
I could go off on her for a long time.
Well, I don't know
how much I love her.
Well, speaking of other cameos, because this is a cameo that doesn't give anything away, there is another person who is featured in the show that is the woman from Flashdance.
Yeah, she's also 58, bro. I need some of the Hollywood drugs.
Yeah, Hollywood drugs, like something. I mean, yes, like people are like, oh, well, they've got this, they've got that, but like also, like if you look at like what like how they take care of themselves as part of it as well, and I'm sure that they may have had, some enhancements here and there. No pun intended for, but yeah, it's amazing. Ming-Na Wen's look and like movement. She doesn't move like her age either. Like
She
that's
still
that's
does like a
impressive.
lot of her own like action
Yeah.
sequences.
Yeah, which I did a polo, by the way. I did a polo to you. I'll be brief on this, but I forgot the guy's name that plays Boba Fett, that played Jango Fett, and I space on his name, but um, by my math, my rough math that I was doing in the car, he's like between 15 and 18 years too old to be Boba Fett from an actor standpoint.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and
Which I think they addressed when they originally announced the show, but
okay, I
basically, like,
may need to look, but
they chalked it up to like what Sarlacc did to him.
okay. See, and that's kind of what I was thinking.
Like,
I didn't even read that, but
That's how they could justify it.
yeah, I was like something wasn't sitting right with me, and then it kind of clicked. I'm like, that's why, which I get. I mean, he somehow survived it, so and that's not a spoiler for if you saw Mando, you know that happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, good old Star Wars, love it. So we talked to Activision, or I talked to Activision last week and such, but we did get confirmation that Activision will be making 3 more Call of Duties for PlayStation, which you put in there, and I kind of agree. That's probably what they were contractually obligated to be making, anyways. Puts him right on target with like, yes, this is what we're going to make for PlayStation, and it does not mean that every Call of Duty game is going to be on PlayStation. I still think that I think they're going to split a little bit, which I space on the on which Call of Duty is which, because I haven't played very many of them. But you mentioned one, like saying like that one's going to stay on PlayStation, the other's going to be on would be
Warzone.
Warzone. That's right. I don't know why I space on Warzone.
I honestly don't think that there's any way that it doesn't. I would be absolutely shocked. I think all the mainline ones go away. So your Modern Warfares, your Black Ops,
go to exclusivity.
Those go away. And it's not even just contractually obligated. It's that this deal isn't going through until next year. And so it's just like Blizzard's going to continue to operate as if it might not go through, because it might not. The EU still could shut it down. I don't think they're going to, based on my very limited knowledge. But yeah, the United States isn't going to do anything. They don't care. They've let Disney do whatever it wants for years, and so I don't see how they could stop Microsoft from doing the same thing. They also let Facebook do whatever it wants, and so the EU is really the one like that is the challenger to this. So, but Blizzard has to act as if it's going to go through, and if it doesn't go through, Blizzard I think gets like $1 billion out of it or something like that. Something stupid like that. So we have this year. That was a foregone conclusion because the deal's not going through. That's one. We have next year, so next November. That's 2. And then they've said that Schreier says that they're making a Warzone 2, so some kind of upgrade, or I don't know if it's a sequel. I imagine that they're just not going to totally erase everybody's progress on the original Warzone, but quote unquote Warzone 2 is 3, and so that's it. I have no after Bethesda, because I remember Phil said something very similar. With Bethesda, like kind of like talking about like the existing stuff that is on PlayStation will remain on PlayStation. So that was his way of skirting around Starfield, but at the same time, he's also since changed that. A new Fallout game is not going to be on PlayStation. A new Elder Scrolls is not going to be on PlayStation. It's over. And so he can come out and say the nice thing that everybody again praised him for. I don't get this constant thing where like Phil says something and like gaming Twitter just eats it up and like decides to completely ignore anything. A month ago they were reevaluating their relationship with Blizzard in light of the controversy with the company, and it turns out that Blizzard was shopping their company, and that the CEO is going to remain in place until the merger goes through, and then that guy will be shown the boot, which
has to.
That he was always going to be rich and stuff anyway, but he's not. You didn't make it a requirement that you fire him right now. Like you can't make him leave right now. No, he's going to stay in place for another year to 2 years. And so it's a similar thing of, we want to continue this relationship with Sony. They're important to the industry. I thought that was just like a thing of, it's okay, little Sony.
I
fun.
think it's
we
the
want to keep that
CEO.
relationship.
Yeah, it's that CEO talk where they say something that makes you feel good, but if you know what they're saying, the language patterns they're using, that you're like, oh, you said something to make people feel good, but people know what they're talking, what they can read between the lines. You actually understand, like you were saying, this is just gonna, yeah, this is just gonna be until the acquisition or any contractual stuff.
That's what I think. You can read between the lines
Yep.
on what Phil is going to do.
Yep. Which I think Phil gets a pass because he's like one of us, you know. It's like when he can do the CEO talking. Yeah, he's one of us. He is Google gobble. He's like, it's when he says something or when you see him in an interview, it's like almost like you're kind of happy. You're like, man, I'm really glad this guy. Not only is he good at what he does, but like it's like seeing like one of your buds like just really successful and seeing him on TV. You're like, man, that's awesome. I'm so happy for him. And he just happens to be making good choices. Where other people, I don't know, I think it's his personality and the fact that he is a gamer. He was talking about games that like he's excited about with Activision, and he's bringing up games like I think it was Hexen and like other games. He's like, I'm really excited about all these properties, and he wasn't just listing off the top titles. Like he was like digging deep into his memory of like gaming, and yeah, it's cool. It's cool seeing that guy.
I and it's not that I'm totally like trying to rag on Phil and everything. It's just a thing of I really am surprised at the reaction to this particular acquisition in terms of I just think it's interesting. Ultimately, I really don't care. I think that it kind of sucks that a series that is like huge on PlayStation is like eventually not going to be on PlayStation in Call of Duty. Like that was like the number 1 and number 2 sellers. That sucks for PlayStation. It's not my money though, so I really don't care. And I honestly was playing the last Call of Duty on Xbox because I just was enjoying it there. I like the feel of that controller for first-person shooters for some reason over the DualSense. I think that losing Diablo is going to suck whenever Diablo 4 does eventually come out. I think that's the second that they release like a new Spyro on Xbox, that's just going to feel weird. Like a new Spyro. Like, yeah, Crash as well, but like, those are both famous PlayStation mascots dating back to PlayStation 1. That's just, again, it's like I don't care that much, but it is just weird. It's just weird that they bought a mascot that was definitely like PlayStation's mascot for a very long time. Like I'll always remember those Crash commercials. Like
exactly,
those are like burned in my memory for how funny they were.
Making fun of Sega with the blowhorn. Yeah,
just little thing that kind of stuff is just weird for me to see. Ultimately, it's whatever. But I do think it's interesting that the industry was just like, well, it's Microsoft. They're gonna save Blizzard, and I was like, I don't know, are they? Like, I know that working for Blizzard or for Microsoft is like known to be better than working for Blizzard, especially right now.
Yeah.
But they kept the CEO in place for the next 2 years. They didn't make that a contingent deal. Like, hey, you can continue operating as normal until we finish this buy, but Kodak's got to go, bro. No, they were like, no, Kodak's important. They said like a nice note about him. I know that those are all legal speak, and that's all things that you have to do.
Yep.
But at the same time, you don't get to be on a moral high horse anymore about how you're doing that. They purposely posted that screenshot, and the only reason I get to go off on this now is because I didn't get to go off on it last week because I was at the hospital. They posted that screenshot showing Phil as now the head of Microsoft Gaming, which cool for him. He got a title bump, I think before it was like Xbox Division. They're showing the diversity in there. I don't know if you noticed that specifically, like more under him is more than half women, which is again awesome. I think it's a net win. I just think that it's interesting that they're doing that and also keeping Kodak in line and saying nice things about Kodak at the same time. Like, it just feels kind of backhanded to me. But Call of Duty is going to go away. They said that they're going to maintain that. Warzone, because it's a battle royale and just such a money printer, I just can't see that going away. But they are going to be the new face for Call of Duty mainline games. It's just, I don't expect 2024, and we'll revisit this in 2 years. But
Yeah.
if it comes out on PlayStation in 2024, I will be shocked, unless Sony has some deal that they paid astronomically for that was like a 10-year deal or something like that. That'll change.
Which we don't know about. Yeah, I still say wait for the acquisition to happen. Give them a little bit of time and see if they axe Bobby. Like, because they can say all that right now, and then as soon as it's not going to be as soon as the ink dries, but give them a little bit of time, and then there'll be an exiting, as they like to say. They don't like to say firing; there'll be exiting of Bobby. At least I'll maybe we'll do an over under when we know that it's getting close to the acquisition. Maybe we'll do an over under on like, okay, is it going to be 3 months? Is it going to be 6 months afterwards? Then we see him canned. Or exited, where he's like, I decided to leave. No, you didn't. So we'll see how long it is. So let us know in the comments what you think about that. You excited about the new Star Wars Respawn stuff? Do you love the new Book of Boba Fett show, or do you hate it? Let us know in the comments. We'll see you next time.